Well, good afternoon, everyone. Oh, you can do better than that. Good afternoon. Yeah, that's much better. That's much better. Tracy, thank you so much. And what a good day for TMSA. Wow, Brianna, you knocked it out of this place. What a great rendition of the national anthem. Let's give her another round. This is a beautiful spring day, although a little bit windy here in Raleigh, North Carolina, but it's a good day to be in North Carolina. You're going to be having a touch of down-home North Carolina mixed in with, well, literally a trip around the world today as you sit in this auditorium and enjoy a lot of cultural activities. This event is such a friendly, fun way to connect the generations and to showcase the diverse cultural richness that is the modern North Carolina. Today, this will truly be a living mosaic of culture and language. Now, I wish I had a talent to contribute. I have a gold record, but I can't sing. That's for some of my law enforcement work. And I can't play bluegrass. I've heard the group that's going to be coming, which is so traditional North Carolina. I've even heard somebody practicing my favorite type of music, which is beach music. That's our North Carolina, South Carolina version of rhythm and blues, because somebody's going to sing My Girl a little bit later on. But I don't have any talent that I can add to that. But I'd like to add my own little part of North Carolina culture here, and I'm going to tell you the most North Carolina joke I know. So it's actually, for you students, it's actually a question. Now, why did the chicken cross the road? To prove the possum it could be done. The students didn't quite get it. Somebody's going to have to explain that later. That's my contribution today to North Carolina humor. But seriously, I want to give my good friend Keenan Gongdog my thanks for helping arrange for me to be here today. Keenan, are you in the audience? Right down front here, yeah. I went to visit his native country of Turkey a few years ago. It was a private trip, just a family trip, and he arranged for me to have a fantastic, personal, non-tourist experience, first-hand exposure to culture. I got an opportunity to visit his brother's in-laws, to participate in their home, to enjoy wonderful cooking. A lot of us couldn't communicate each other by language, but I'll tell you what happened. Since North Carolina is the place of first flight, and I knew his brother had two small young boys, I took some airplanes from the North Carolina Museum, and the next thing I knew, flying around in that Turkish home were a bunch of airplanes, and we had made friends forever, just through those little acts of kindness and having that great opportunity. So let me thank you for that wonderful hospitality opportunity here. I have been blessed in my life with other types of immersion visits in the country of Peru, and I lived 7 years in the country of Brazil in an exchange program. What a wonderful way to learn about other cultures, but most importantly, to sit down, break bread with people, and just talk about the things of life. I visited the Eastern European nation of Moldova as a part of North Carolina's official sister state program, and found that the people there also are open to show their lives to me and invite me into their homes. Those trips have changed my life for the better, and I know that I am wiser about how things really work in the world. But the reality is that we basically all want the same thing. We want happy lives. We want our children to grow up well, healthy, and educated. And by knowing people in people-to-people diplomacy, that can happen. I am a more compassionate person because I see how many people triumph in places where daily life is challenging in so many ways. When I was a girl growing up on my family farm, I didn't have the opportunity to go to such a creative and embracing school as TMSA, but I did belong to 4-H. That's an agricultural youth program. It's now open to more than agriculture. But my 4-H leader told me if I went out into the world and saw other cultures, it would open my eyes to the greater world and maybe even open my eyes to things at home. I took that advice, and it did. So today, we get the treat of having our eyes opened in the comfort of this great performing arts center and talk about making travel easy. All you got to do is sit back and relax. I wish more schools were doing programs such as this one. We need much more of this kind of cultural exposure and exchange in our state and our nation today. So my thanks to all of the folks who made this event happen. I join you in the belief that as long as we look at each other with kindness and compassion in our hearts, we can see that as people on this vast earth together, what we have in common is far greater than what separates us. People everywhere have hopes, dreams, and aspirations for achieving something better. Everywhere people eat, love, pray, as Elizabeth Gilbert titled her human condition in her book. The specifics may be different, but if we can approach our differences with understanding, most of the time we can find that we're a lot closer to being brothers and sisters, or at least cousins on this earth, than we are at being strangers or enemies. That's just my personal opinion. It may sound a little bit mushy coming from a state government agency head, but you see, I originally came from a different state, a different culture, and a different background than most of my fellow North Carolinians. I'm a native of Maryland. You can't tell it by looking at me. North Carolina and Maryland have a bit more keeping them apart than just the state of Virginia in the middle. After I got here many years ago, I came to love North Carolina, and it's now 100% my home. I know personally you can love more than one land, more than one culture, and more than one people. You can grow as a person to love many lands, many cultures, many people, and places. Learning to grow on a personal level and learning to enjoy these great cultures and places is a strength. It is a lesson worth teaching. While today may not be a traditional school day, it is a school day as we learn much more about different cultures. When you do it with the people living next door, you call it neighborliness. And when you put on, just like your program today, it's Southern hospitality. When you do it with people from another nation or cultures, sometimes we call it friendship diplomacy or certainly citizen diplomacy. But it's really the same thing. When we know each other, whether it's across the street or across the ocean, we treat each other better. I've come to realize that foreign policy is too big and too important to leave to a handful of government officials. Because our foreign policy does not just belong to those few federal officials who work in lofty positions of power so remote that most of us never meet or see them. It belongs to you. It belongs to me. It belongs to everyone in this audience today. The world is interconnected, so foreign policy needs to be a part of our outlook. In my own case, as North Carolina's Secretary of State, I have met with well over 100 different official foreign delegations over the years. I've just given up counting the number of countries who have been represented by those delegations. I got to 30, and then at that point I quit worrying about it. All of that international dialogue, that international exchange has proven to me time and time again that people, for the most part, have the same desires and hopes in life. It's also really helped me to understand what's coming next, and a lot of things are coming next. This state and this nation are heading into a time when record numbers of citizens and residents are going to have family ties to other cultures and other nations. Demographically, our diversity is growing by leaps and bounds. That'll continue for the rest of my life and the rest of the lives of everyone in here, especially these students. Many people now working in North Carolina for our best employers, our high-tech companies and our universities, are citizens of foreign countries. Some of you here, that fits you. But let me add, the exchange is not all one way. For example, many young native-born North Carolinians now work and live in other countries. That's why every single person in North Carolina today can be an ambassador for the state. We have thousands and thousands of international visitors and residents coming right now. Some are coming for nothing more than a vacation, to enjoy our beaches or our mountains or our wonderful golf courses. Others are coming to get great educations from the universities. Many are coming to work in research in the public or private sector for possibly a few months or maybe for a few years. At the same time, we're sending North Carolina students to countries to study, and we're sending working adults across the entire globe. The potential benefit to North Carolina in all this exchange is nothing short of gigantic. I believe you students here today will live to see the North Carolina of the late 21st century become famous as a world-class destination. I believe it already is, but I think it's going to get more famous. A state that is a beloved place by millions and millions of people, no matter where they happen to live on the planet Earth. That's the future we can have for this magical, beautiful state if we keep on working to achieve it. For us adults, our mission is to keep supporting cultural exchanges and open dialogue, both in the fun times, like today, and on those days when the discussions are tough to have. For you students here today, your mission is to keep on doing what you're doing right now. Keep your brains and your hearts open, not closed to others, and give their food, their songs, their languages, and their cultures a try. If we do those things, I know North Carolina's future will grow brighter than it ever has in the history of our nation, with a growing, diverse, and better interconnected population. A population that creates a rich, exciting culture full of different viewpoints and forms of expression. That'll be the North Carolina that we can love and live in and contribute to for future success, because our success is bound together. Thank you, and I know this is going to be a great event.
Before you leave, yes, we have something for you. We couldn't just let her, leave without any recognition because she's doing such a great job for our state. Wouldn't you agree? So we have Dr. Zen here, Superintendent of Schools, to present an award for you.
I will put this in my office, and I know many, many people will ask me, what is it? And I'm going to tell them it's a representation of the wonderful students that I saw here today and participating in the cultural expression that's going to happen a little bit later on. And your school will be mentioned every time somebody asks me about this, so thank you.